Hi guys, so this is Himani, and today I will talk about why I deleted my Instagram account about a year ago and how do I feel about my life after deleting it. So let's just get started. So, a little background about my journey. Like, I was on Instagram since 2018 when I was in school, but at the time I was not very active because there were so many things going on and all of us were more focused on the school itself. But as the school ended, and specifically like my college education began with the onset of COVID. So naturally, we were very active on the social media platforms to connect with the peers we have not even met yet. And so with that, like my activity on Instagram became very high. However, the problem aroused when I started, I basically created a digital personality of me on Instagram because nobody in my new college had ever seen me. So I just kind of created this image of me for people that I'm a happy person and I do this, this, and this because there was no other way to tell people who I am. Social media was the only way I could tell people how do I feel, what is my life like, what is my nature like. So I kind of tried to mold my Instagram account in a way so that people perceive me in a certain way. I would put stories about different quotes, about different thoughts, about how I see the world, and it just kept going on. The 2020 year and the 2021 year just went like that, basically relying on my digital personality, and it became so intense that uh, there was a moment that I actually felt that the person who is on Instagram is a completely different person from who I am in my real life. And I'm constantly trying to, you know, keep that digital persona of me in that, so that people like me, so that they become friends with me, and there were all kinds of things that I was doing. So I was also trying to be like other people, there were some other people in my class who used to do certain things, like they would go out and they would, whatever their hobbies were, and they appeared happy. So I also wanted to look that way. So I also noticed that I was doing very less real work on myself and more on, like, my attention completely got away from who I am in real life. Like when we are in physical presence of somebody, we try to work upon ourselves in real way. Like we try to work on our body so that when we go out, we look good, and we try to work on our intellectual things so that we get good marks in exam. But when everything got digital, nobody was watching how you look and how's your body, and they only see how you what kind of photos you post, and anybody can manipulate the photos of themselves. And it was so easy to get marks online because everybody could cheat. So I went into the trap, and I became more digital than even a robot is today. But eventually, when things opened up, COVID went away, colleges finally opened up, these things became less and I became less active. However, some basic things didn't go away, like comparison, like always watching somebody, other person who is leading a happier life than me. And in fact, everybody on Instagram is living a happy life. Either they're traveling, either they're going to a club or hanging out with friends, or they're just going to a wedding with a very pretty dress. So these are the only kinds of things you will see in 99% of the profiles. And you will compare your life to that small proportion of somebody's life. And you will not even realize it until until you yourself separate from all that for some time. And it was impacting me in a huge way that I didn't know at that time. But like there was constant comparison, And I was constantly watching other people's profiles, stalking them, seeing what they're doing and not doing. And every other person was somehow better than me. Like in my head, I was not pretty enough because I did not have those abs. I was not wearing that kind of dress and going to that place that would make me look more pretty. But I was not pretty enough. I was not, you know, intellectual enough. I was not successful enough. Everything I did seemed less. And that would trigger a lot of anxiety in me. And when I would see people like going out with certain people, and I was not a part of that. So these are little things that I would constantly see that I did not intentionally do, but they were just, my hands were doing that. Let's check out his profile or her profile or what is happening. And these are very irrelevant things, but I was still doing that unconsciously. And and, and I didn't even realize how it was impacting me mentally. But eventually, last year in August, I guess, like I got into a very big anxiety issue because of doing all these things, and I just got completely lost. I didn't understand what I was even doing on Instagram. I had a habit of, using Instagram for a certain time and then deactivating it. But at that point last year, I was just like, what am I even using Instagram for? How is it even adding value to my life? There was no answer. There was not even a single reason or a single, point that was adding value to my life. I was just wasting my time on it, scrolling here, seeing other people, and if saying that there are certain creators who create good content and you consume it and then you get to know things. This is your excuse, then please, there are better platforms to get news and get information, get knowledge these days. And like some of my friends, I would say, some of the people in my life even say that it is a good way to keep connect with people. And I would say that maybe it is a right platform for some people who are not affected by all these things. But I think as far as I've observed, majority of the people, they do get affected. Even if they say that I don't care, but you will see it in the way they talk, in the way they think, in the way they keep comparing themselves to other people. You will see that majority of the people are affected by such kind of social media platforms that only show the good picture of somebody's life. Now, if you're conscious enough, if you're like away from all this nonsense and you're only focused on right things, then maybe it's the right platform for you. If you're not affected by all this, then definitely do what you want. But it is our responsibility to, introspect and see and observe like what is it that is impacting our mental health. And it was impacting mine. So I just deleted it. And post that what happened. So post that, like for 1 or 2 months, I would do use Instagram through a fake ID, like not regularly, but like once in 2 weeks, and I would just try to see what is happening. It was like a bug in me that I'm going to miss out on something. Let's see what picture somebody has posted. So I would just check out some public profiles through my fake ID, and so I was just doing that. But eventually, I stopped doing that because I just lost interest. Uh, like I just realized that every time I use Instagram, I only feel either neutral or worse. Like there was never a moment in which I would feel happy using Instagram, or a moment in which it would help me, because I'm not a business person or a creator who is trying to build something or trying to build awareness about some of my products, or I'm not, or I was not an influencer on Instagram. So like there was no valid reason for me to be there. But as soon as I stopped using it, all those things that I was doing, like comparison, like jealousy, like constantly feeling I was not enough, went away. In 3 4 months, I was like completely myself. I was not comparing my life to anybody, and I feel more relaxed in who I am, in how I look. in what I'm doing in my life, in my career, and wherever I'm traveling. Because you if you like traveling, maybe you travel basically to get relaxed. And the most enjoyment you get out of traveling is when, like, you have done a lot of good work in other part of your career, and then you take a vacation, and then you finally go to travel. That is a kind of travel that really makes you happy. But if you're like traveling all the time, assuming that you are not a, like, traveling is not a profession, so apart from that, if you're traveling all the time, I guess it distracts you from your main goal. And but that is kind of things you see on Instagram, and then you think I should also be traveling every month and every now and then, but that is not how it happens. So I think the most important thing in life is to feel contented in wherever you are, in your body, in your skin, in whatever you're doing in your career. And because when you're completely relaxed, when you're completely silent, when you're not overwhelmed by the negative emotions of negativity or comparison, that is the only moment your mind functions at its best. And I have experienced it firsthand, and I can definitely vouch on that thing. Um, so at last, I would just say that, like, no social media platform is bad or good, but if anything affects you mentally, if anything like makes you more negative about the world or about yourself, just give up that. Focus on yourself, you're good enough. You just need to focus on the right things. If you want a job, focus on doing that right. If you want good looks, focus on exercising. Like, whatever you want, just focus on that. If you keep watching what the other people are doing, you will never live your best life. You will never be true to yourself. You will always try to follow what other people are doing, and that will eventually lead to a rat race. So, and the rat race is the kind of thing that everybody is doing. So just stop doing that to yourself. Stop hurting yourself. Stop torturing yourself just to be a part of the society. And you know take rest, drink water, and keep exercising. Bye bye.